doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Thank you for having me here today.
Oh, no problem. Let's talk your fantastic movie. I loved every second of it. So take me back to day one. How did you get attached to this film?
I probably got attached to it when I first did the audition. Me and my acting coach, she came over, we went through the lines together, and we started learning that we wanted to do this role. And so that made it all the more rewarding when I found out I was going to get it.
Or is there any nerves as you were doing the audition, or were you kind of after you had read the script, you're like, this is it. I know I can land this role.
No, I don't really get nervous when I do the auditions because the audition, that one was actually a self-tape because most of them these days are self-tapes. And so we don't really get nervous because we just go, we record it, and then eventually we know we have the best one.
So what was it like on set? You're on set and you're working with a fantastic cast. You had Zachary Levi, Megan Fahey. It was amazing. Just watching all of you guys all together. Your chemistry was through the roof. So tell me what it was like working with that cast.
That's great to hear. The cast was all really well to work with. I got to see some of them last night at the premiere, and we still had that great chemistry. I got to see Gavin Warren and Pilot Bunch, who played my brother and my bully, and that was great. We hadn't seen each other in a while, and so that was great to finally reunite. I got to see Zach again, who I've seen a lot recently, and as always, it was great to see Zach again. And then I got to see Drew, who plays Joe, the imaginary friend, and I hadn't seen him in like 4 years, so that was great too.
Oh my God, really? 4 years?
Yes, because he lives far away, so we hadn't really seen him since we finished filming, but he was really happy to see me.
Well, it's so funny that you mentioned that because you guys did film this a couple of years ago. I don't want to be like, oh, so many moons ago, but you've grown up so much since you've made this film. So for you to, did you get to watch it last night? Because I know some people don't like to watch their work. So were you able to watch the film last night?
Yes, I did watch the film last night. It wasn't my first time. I watched a screening of it beforehand with Zach a couple months after finishing filming. However, it was great, I think, to look back at since it's been so long now, because that's like a time capsule of the memories that I have from filming it 4 years ago.
But for you, when you see yourself now, you're grown up almost to where you were when you filmed that. What were your thoughts? Are you looking at yourself like, oh my God, how was I ever that young?
Yeah, basically, looking back at it, it's like, geez, I like to I like to laugh at little kids now sometimes, not in a mean way, but still, it's like, geez, that was once me.
Yeah, yeah, it's insane to like look back at yourself and think, how was I ever number one that young, and what am I doing?
Yeah, it gets a bit embarrassing because I'm like, geez, if I wouldn't act that way these days.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those things that also gives you a chance, as you said, a time capsule to look back, and now you have these memories, and it brings you back to that moment that you were filming and special moments that happened on set. So, were there any special moments that you remember while filming this movie?
I always say my favorite scene to film was the camping trip. It was kind of like a field day for everyone involved. We just went out and they rolled the cameras and we did all the different activities. We did you saw it was the horseshoe and then the wood saw, and then my favorite was archery. But it was really great and everyone was really kind. It was me, Zach, and Peter. And I didn't really get to spend much time with Peter on set. We didn't really have any scenes together. And so it was really fun to do that with them.
Now, for that archery scene, did they prep you kind of beforehand on how to do archery? Was it just kind of, we're going to see what happens when we film?
They did prep me a little bit beforehand. They had me come on and they had me take a couple practice shots and then they started filming it.
Is that something you're still doing to this day, or is this like one and done? I did it for the movie. I don't need to do it again.
One and done.
So you have your special moments, but what would you say was your most challenging part about making this movie?
Probably the mental institution scene. those were pretty difficult. And then also the swing set scenes were difficult because that day when I was filming, I wasn't feeling well and I had actually thrown up beforehand.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but after that I was able to feel better and they didn't need me at that point, so thankfully I was able to recover and then go back out. Or I hadn't done anything at that point, but I got lucky there, but it was difficult because I was just in that situation and then I had to go out, swing on the swing sets, and then I
Yeah.
had to try on camera, which was difficult.
Yeah, you have a ton of really intense emotional scenes from the mental institutions ones to the swing set one, as you mentioned. So how did you, when you finished those scenes, kind of decompress? Like, what did you do that you were able to, find yourself again? Because those scenes, I have to imagine, are so taxing on you physically and mentally.
Um, it was difficult. Usually I just like to relax in silence for a bit. Um, that's really what I do. I need a quiet. I just calm down and quiet. It isn't too difficult for me to relax afterwards.
Hmm. That's amazing. That's amazing because I feel like if I was in your position, it would take me hours to get myself out of whatever the emotional scene I was in.
I don't know. I feel like as I do it more, it becomes easy to switch on and off.
So, what would you say you have learned from playing the role in this film? I would like to think that every time you guys, as actors, take on a role, you learn either something about yourself or something about your craft that you take from the film. So, what would you say you've learned?
Well, I definitely agree with both of those. I feel like I've learned how to have more of a positive outlook on life because Austin is really optimistic. Um, and especially, I agree with the craft part too, because that playing Austin, I think, really helped with me on how to be able to act in certain situations, in how to be really positive and happy during great moments, but also how to show like when you're at the lowest of lows in your sad moments.
Austin is such a lovable character. I mean, you feel for him in every scene that you are in. Whatever he is going through, you as the audience really, really feels it. And a lot of that has to do with your performance of it. So, what did you do any research on autism, mental health, any of that beforehand? Or did you just kind of let the script and your crew kind of support you along the way?
We didn't really research much on autism because it's a very wide spectrum, and so I focused more on like who is Austin himself as a person, and that was easier because I was able to meet the real life Austin too and his family, which worked well. Yeah, and
What
so
was that like?
it was really great getting to meet them. I got a message on Instagram from Austin like on one of my first days of filming, and we started talking, we started messaging, and then shortly after he called me once I got back to the hotel, and that was able to like set the tone for me on how I was going to play him coming up.
My God, that's so amazing.
Definitely, it was great getting to meet them.
So, as you mentioned, getting to speak with him and getting to meet with him kind of changed your approach to the character. Do you still keep in contact at all with him? And especially now that the film is being released?
Yeah, especially like at first it sort of died down. We only messaged each other occasionally, but especially now that it's getting closer, we've messaged each other more and more. His father Scott even messaged me and started giving me like pointers on like how to approach it.
That's fantastic. I just love that how much they were involved with, the film, and then now hearing this part of how much they were involved with you too. I think that brings an even bigger connection to the story because it makes it feel even that more real. I mean, we know it's based on a true story, but we're seeing actors play the role, but to know that they were involved and they were part of the process, I think adds an even bigger element to the story.
Definitely. I'm really happy that they were involved in being able to tell their own story, and I'm really grateful that they gave me the opportunity to be a part of their story.
So, why should fans see this movie when it comes out tomorrow?
I think fans should see this movie because I think it's important for people right now in this time to be able to see that it is still possible to have a positive outlook on life, even when bad things are going on. And it's important to see the themes of forgiveness and healing that this movie portrays through like the father and the brother.
Yeah, I love that it wasn't just, kind of based on one person in the family's point of view. It was based on so many of their points of views. Because when we've seen films like this in the past, it's typically focused on one or two characters. This you got to see pretty much the entire family's reaction. And I just love that because if you couldn't relate with Austin, you could relate with the father, the brother, like everyone in the story. You could find someone to relate to.
Definitely, I agree. That's what I think is so great about this movie is that they go into detail on everyone's perspectives, and so you can find someone that you feel like you've struggled in their way before.
So we have the Unbreakable Boy coming out tomorrow. What else do you have in store for us this year? Anything that you can share or maybe tease?
Sadly, not yet. I've been doing a ton of auditions, but I'm hoping that this will give me the boost that I need.
I think it absolutely will. As I said, I just, have the tissues ready because you will cry. But I loved every second of it. As I said, your guys' performances were amazing. So I'm super excited to see what doors this opens for you once it is released tomorrow. But I also see you've been in other things as well. You've been on multiple TV shows, other movies. So from them, is there a specific, let me back up a sec. Is there a specific genre that you've enjoyed so far? TV, movie?
That's tough. I'd say my favorite so far has been, hmm, I like all types of genres a lot. I'd be willing to do any of it. My favorite to watch has always been comedies. Like I've done Ape at Christmas. I did Sack Lunch Bunch. Which those two were really fun. So that's great. But I did really enjoy doing Plot Against America, which did have a more serious tone to it.
Yeah, that was I went back and I watched a couple of episodes as I prepared for this interview. And that is I was hooked. I had not realized that it had even come out. And so I'm sitting there watching this. I'm like, he is killing it in this. Like you and I had seen this John Mulaney's one before and loved you in that. So to see you taking on these two completely different roles was just fascinating to watch. And especially at such a young age to be able to navigate into those avenues it came off on screen very easily to me. I have to imagine it wasn't so easy off screen.
I don't know. I feel like it wasn't that difficult to connect to the two characters. Sack Lunch Bunch was easy, obviously, because it was just me. Plot, I'm trying to think. The plot scenes were a bit more difficult, especially the phone call scenes. However, I think in the end it wasn't too bad.
So as we wrap up our interview today, because I do not want to keep you here all day, because I can imagine that you and I can go on for hours if we wanted to. What is something that you want your fans to know, either about Unbreakable Boy coming out tomorrow or about something we haven't discussed? And then how can fans find you online?
Okay. Something I want fans to know about me, that's tough. I'd say I want fans to know that The Unbreakable Boy really is a good movie and you should give it a chance, obviously. Give Sack Lunch, my favorite of the bunch is Sack Lunch Bunch. So if there's anything that you want to watch that has me, go to that one first. You can find me online on my Instagram at Jacob Laval, no spaces, no capitals. And you can also find my credits on my IMDb page.
Beautiful. Well, Jacob, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I'm so excited for everyone to see the movie when it comes out tomorrow, and I'm super excited to watch your career grow over these next couple of years. You are going to be here for a very long time, and I'm very excited to see what you have in store for us.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you're excited. Thank you for having me.